Is it overrated or is it underrated? We're going to talk about it on 94 feet of UNC. Let's go.
Gordy to Black. The time, 18. Shot, Jordan! Michael Jordan!
Swicker with the defense and the rebound. That's a good effort by Swicker.
Stackhouse streaking in on Park. Reverse dunk is good, and he gets fouled by Park. Oh my goodness, what a dunk by Stackhouse.
I think that he brought him back so quickly, but you know what? They're down eight. In fairness, you can't teach that. You can't teach that. You can't teach that high-rising ability. Three. And Green rips down the rebound in traffic. 4-on-1. Great job. What a terrific job in transition. I mean, you could.
The glass no good. Rebound followed by hand throw. Good! Carolina.
Inside 30 overall. Love. Top of the key.
Alice about this over. Carolina. The Tar Heels have won the national championship.
And that is it. There is a new team in college basketball. North Carolina takes the title. Captain any final. North Carolina is the 2009 national champion. And this year, the confetti is going to fall to North Carolina. They're not going to be denied this time.
What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, August 20th. You are tuned in to the 94 feet of UNC podcast. I am your host, Lindsay Graham. Today, I got a special guest in the building with me, one of my guys. But before we get into introducing him, I want to make sure that you like, subscribe, share, comment at the bottom, hit that subscription button and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any content that I provide for you guys. It's a lot of hard work that I put in, so I appreciate the support or whatever. Today's topic is going to be over or underrated. But before we get into that topic, I'm going to I got my guy Fabian from AllBall TV in the building, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So my guy, Fabe, what is up, bro?
What's going down? What's up? Que lo que? Deja un like, comentario y suscribe. Yeah. It's Fabian PerspecTV, baby. You know how we get down from AllBall TV, representing the big plan.
If you're an avid listener of the show, you already know what all of that means. You know what I'm saying? So no biggie to that. No trying to figure that out or whatever. But baby, introduce yourself, man. Of course, let everybody know what you got going on, what you do. And yeah, we're gonna get into this, man. I appreciate you coming on today. It's guest week, so of course you was one of my special guests. So I'm looking forward to this episode, man. But yeah, tell everybody about yourself, man.
Well, I'm just what they call a YouTuber now. My son wants to be one, which I'm kind of disappointed in. I'd rather be a doctor or a kung fu master of some sort. But I am a YouTuber / content creator. Developed some editing skills, and we just on here just talking about basketball for the most part, and just showing our love for the game. On AllBall TV, Fabian PerspecTV is another channel. Check us all out on both of those channels. And we also show, extend our love to everybody, try to help everybody out from the grind up. But, again, we're all meeting through basketball talk. We love talking about basketball. You know me, I wasn't a big college fan before this year. Shout out to Flea, We Live Flea. He feels like, and yourself, you guys were going to convert me into some, college guru now. And, I was really more about the pros, really more about the NBA. So I'm on this UNC 94 feet of UNC with my guy Lenzel, and they're converting me. And that's the journey. Just talking about the love of basketball, how much we love it, debating, arguing, especially from, the New York standpoint.
Right. So for all the people that don't know, it's Knicks Rehab. I'm a huge Knicks fan. Fabe and the guys are also Knicks fans. So, I've reached out to them on their podcast or whatever. I've been on there for, a few times. When the college basketball season rolls around, we're gonna really jump into it or whatever. So, and really get some episodes going for everybody for College Madness, right? All ball College Madness, right?
All ball madness. That's gonna be the new thing. Thanks for plugging the Knicks rehab. We're big Knicks fans too. That's really what it is. Thanks for reminding me. I don't know how I forgot that, but we're big Knicks fans. Just
Right.
that's why we met a lot of our followers, a lot of our viewers,
Mhm.
but we love the whole game of basketball from the ground up, from all the kids, the youngsters, AAU and high school. I'm getting more into, but all our people, they know about it and they school me on it, and it's all about learning for me. Whether we're arguing, whatever it is. So from Knicks rehab
Yeah.
to all ball madness coming soon. We're gonna have this game on lock.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm looking forward to it. I had Flea on the show, about a week or two ago or whatever. So, that was a dope episode that me and him had or whatever. Talking to OG. So, gonna be setting something up like that. Had to get you on the show, of course, or whatever. But I know that you had I noticed that you had a main topic that you had brought to my attention, which is the reason why I said, you know what, let's talk about it. So I bring you on the show and let me know. Let's talk about this topic that you had in mind. So give everybody what that was. We could get into it.
Well, it's funny because you started off. Today's episode is called Overrated or Underrated, and Cooper Flagg has been, touted as the number one draft pick for next year's NBA draft. He's going to y'all rival, Duke is going to play for them next season, college season, and
Yeah.
it's just about when I see this much hype behind a high school star. I'm used to seeing LeBron, Zion, a lot of these guys who were just a cut above everyone else,
Right.
and it made me want to go watch him more, see the scouting reports. I see both. I see, people bigging them up, and I see everything that they're talking about, the athleticism.
Yeah.
He can chew a little bit. He got a handle. He's 6'9", 6'10". That's the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
But when I see him, I'm like, if he's a number one draft pick and the phenom that they're making him out to be, how close to like Paolo Banchero is he? Paolo was what, 6'8", 6'9", and he moves like a menace already. He's a big guy out
Yeah.
there. He's punking NBA dudes. I ain't
Yeah.
see, Cooper Flagg doing all that. People just say he held his own against the Olympics, and it's like, okay, he held his own according to the highlights and according to everybody signed to Nike at the Olympics that played with him. They're not gonna say nothing bad about him. And maybe if he didn't, they would have been nicer about it. But I see
Yeah.
everything. I see all the compliments. But the other side to that is I saw scouting report videos. Shout out to Dorian82.
Mhm.
He broke down a great video. How he didn't set his feet right several times. How he throws himself off on defense several times. And
Right.
his mom is a coach. Shout out to him and his family. Taking advantage of basketball culture, what it is now. And I compared him to actually on a recording with All Ball. We seen this with Felipe Lopez, the hype
Right.
from high school, super hype. And I was, I'm Dominican, so it was I was met with all the rebuttals and blowback from the Felipe Lopez
Yeah.
hype, and Marbury was here at the
Yeah.
same time, and a lot of this shine was taken away from the other guys. I'm not saying Cooper
Mhm.
Flagg doesn't deserve to be top 3, but to be clear cut above Cameron, AJ, and these guys, I mean, these guys put in work, and I don't see the separation. Is my point. The hype is helping
Right.
him get there. The hype is going to help him get the bag. When I compared him to Bronny, I felt like Bronny went from whatever he was, a lot of highlights. We didn't see
Right.
much of him, and we made the high school team, the high school All-American team. I talked to a lot of people like he only got that because of his father. So with Cooper,
Right.
not obviously he doesn't have a LeBron James as a father, but are there ways to manipulate the game where you go from Maine to Mount Verde, and all of a sudden a more popular school gets you the more of a limelight? Are there ways
Right.
to capitalize off of a marketing? That's really my question. Is he truly the number one pick for next season?
So I'll say this, and these are a lot of you. I mean, you just brought out a lot of great points. Um, to me, I do think that Cooper is overrated a little bit, and I do think the hype has put him there. Like you said, you have Felipe Lopez, the Stephon Marbury's, even Zion Williamson. Like same thing, same hype with him. And look where he's at right now in the NBA. Um, so as far as him being overrated, I do think that he is, a little bit. I think the hype of him is a little bit too much because to me there are several other players in college that I think are better than Cooper. Um, Now, of course, they're only going to show us it's kind of like when they show highlights and stuff like that on YouTube and video clips and things like that. They're only going to show us like the good side of what a person does. They never show you what that negative side is. And by you saying that, because I was watching the video, as a matter of fact, before we even got on, I was watching the video with him and RJ Barrett playing with each other. And he was kind of slow on his step. Uh, and you know how I feel about RJ, of course. But both coming from Duke, but RJ looked better, of course, than Cooper. And I mean, of course, that hype with RJ, as a matter of fact, was big. I mean, he came out, he was what, the third pick in the draft, went to the Knicks. And there was a lot of hype around RJ as well. So with Cooper, good player. I'm not taking that away from him. All of these kids, or young men, I don't want to call them kids, but they choose, these big name schools because of the fact that the hype that it also brings with it, as far as like, being a good player and things like that. But I don't know how well of a good player he is like that. And to be honest with you, I think that he's going to get locked up a lot this year in the ACC. I don't think he's going to be as big as everybody say he is. I do think. I mean, they right now they're even trying to say that he's in the runnings for like National Player of the Year, and he's a freshman. They're also trying to put him on the first team All American. Like, you're a freshman. Like, it just don't happen that way. And the hype is just it is ridiculous. Like, every time I turn around and I'm listening to other podcasters and talking about other people, all you hear is Cooper Flagg, Cooper Flagg, Cooper Flagg, Cooper Flagg. And to be honest with you, he's just another player to me. But I mean, I get the hype. I get it. I mean, and he's going to Duke. Duke is going to always bring that. They're going to put in the money for all of that extra uh, networking, publicity, to build them up. But I guess we just got to wait and see, because I mean, if you're going to base things off of that high school play, then you can see things, but it doesn't really give you a true perspective on what kind of player he's going to be. I think when he gets into the ACC, because the ACC is a physical conference. I mean, there's a lot of big men in the conference, a lot of quick guys in the conference, a lot of more athletic guys in the conference. So it's going to be interesting to see how he matches up with these players. Yeah, good size, 6'8", 6'9". Um, the least I would probably see him playing is maybe the 3 at the least. I don't see him playing a 1 or a 2, but a 3 or a 4. He can't play the 5. He'll get pushed all around. As far as the 2 and the 1 and the 2, he's not gonna play that. He's not gonna play that. So in the 3 and the 4, in his position that he's gonna play, and that they're probably gonna use him in different rotations, it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to some of these stronger, quicker, more athletic guys and things like that. I mean, I think it's going to come down really to his IQ in basketball, more so than anything, because like I said, he's just a regular, normal player to me. But like, you just don't know. The ACC brings a different type of player out of you. That's just what it is. A lot of people is talking about, Kay Tyson and Vin Lubin from Carolina. By Lubin coming from Vanderbilt and Kay Tyson coming from Belmont, how well are they going to transition in the ACC because of it's just a powerhouse conference. So it's going to be interesting to see. I, I I agree with a majority of the points that you brought out, and I mean it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why the hype and all of that, and it seems to be like that a lot lately with these players coming out of high school. And I just don't get it. Um, college basketball is changing, bro, and I think it might be changing. Could be changing for the worse. I mean, it was great, but now it's just getting too political. And now with the NIL coming in and these players getting paid and things like that, it's really getting political now, and it's changing the game up so much. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
just touching on what you're saying. I just went to look it up. Especially in the last 14 years, you know,
Yeah,
All American doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a top draft pick either. Um,
fact.
so I get that. But I just don't remember a lot of these guys going into the NCAA with this much hype behind them. I mentioned offline, I think you got people. I forgot his name, but they have him as he should have been on the Olympic team, like Christian Laettner. And that just I got peeved at that. Now I'm starting to see the guys who are on this side saying things that are just outlandish, which is cool because I think we live in that world where people just want to get attention. So I even
Right,
framed the video that way through Bronny James in there because it's just like he's the example of someone who shouldn't have been in the NBA and so he gets a guaranteed contract. Like this is what the vehicle of social media is being utilized as. And I don't have a problem with that. But if I'm talking to basketball fans and you can't keep it real,
right,
I don't know if our conversations are really gonna go that far because you're just a hype machine. And that's cool. Like I'm
right,
with the hype, but then when we have the real conversation, let the hype subdue. Where does he fall? I'm not gonna say he's not an NBA talent. That's insane right now. He's exactly what they're looking for. Look at Wemby coming into
right.
the league and all that hype. I wasn't convinced until I saw him in the preseason. So and he looked great. He looked phenomenal. 7'4", and the way that he was moving, it was like, well, you
Yeah,
can see why nobody will pass on that. But with
right.
with Cooper, I think we're gonna be able to see him being passed on when it depends who gets the number one draft pick. You know what I mean? If Orlando somehow falls in there, I don't see them picking him up. The Nets I
Yeah,
can see because they're hopeless. They're looking for a hope. They're looking for a reason to sell jerseys and sell tickets. So he's already
yeah,
done that. And with that being said, I don't even know if he's supposed to chance it like that and just not come straight out of high school and go to the league because there was
right.
so much hype to lose that number one spot. To me it might not be worth it. I mean, I don't even remember the number one draft pick's name, but I
Mhm.
know he was from
Oh,
Paris, right?
Alex Sarr.
Alex
Wasn't
Saul,
it
who
Alex Sarr? I think that was his name. Yeah, yeah. From overseas. Yeah.
right.
That
And
went
a
to
lot of guys like
where
that.
did he yeah, he went to what? Was it Atlanta, Houston? Where did he go? No, who had the one pick?
Uh
Washington?
Zachary Rissaker.
He was the one pick? No, Alex Sarr was 2. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so
Yeah.
Zachary,
Alex Sarr was 2. Yeah.
right?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about him. So yeah, didn't
Yeah,
keep
me
up with him
either.
like that.
I
Yeah,
didn't even know
so I
Zachary Rissaker was the number one pick. I thought it was somebody else, a more familiar name. But
yeah,
look, and again, the overseas guys, they're playing on potential too. They don't really know how they're going to play. Alex Saw looks very flawed, but a lot of this
yeah,
potential is being played on. And we see a lot of these Paris guys, a lot of French guys, they're coming in here and they're taking advantage of that. So good for them. And Cooper Flagg to me is just showing you how we, promote our players over here. So is
yeah,
it replicable though? Can they repeat the Cooper Flagg thing? Remember, and that's really my ultimate point. Bronny James, and now it's Cooper Flagg. So if you're
right.
the NBA, you go, and I was joking when I said it, but I'm kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm paying a scout and you bring up Instagram or Twitter to me or something like that, I might fire you on the spot. Like, what are we really doing right now? Don't, because they're gonna look at the draft picks and be like, yo, they gave that kid $8 million. He was able to get to the NBA, and now this guy, you hyping him up.
Yeah.
Where are we with this? And I'm pretty sure the Felipe Lopez thing, even though he dropped in the draft like 23 or 24 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, that was after the St. John's run, and he was exposed. So will that happen to Cooper Flagg is my point. There's a lot of guys that are tall now, got a handle. They got him as Andre Kirilenko. If he shows Andre Kirilenko kind of defense, that's great. But like I've said before, the number one picks, if you ain't a scorer like that, who are you really?
Right.
Who, like, break it down? LeBron, AI, Shaq.
Yeah.
It goes down the list. We just,
I look at it
with that number one thing.
I look at it like this, and this is just me, and this may be I'm trying to be objective, but at the same time, a little bit of biasness is coming out because of me being a UNC fan. But if you look at Duke players, like, and we've talked about this before, but how many of them have really shined? Like when they get into the league, I mean, if you go down the list, yeah, they may have had the careers and things like that, but how many of them have really came out and shined like that? Like the reason why I say that is if Cooper Flagg is the height that he is, and he goes to the NBA, he'll be the first in my eyes. Maybe well, you know what? The first might be stretching it a little bit, but he's going to be up there as far as one of the Duke players that was successful in the NBA. And you do have some successful players from Duke in the NBA, but the careers have been wishy-washy. Like, I mean,
remember Banchero went to Duke, bro, and Banchero's on his way.
Yeah.
As much as we talk about Tatum and these guys in the East, he's not talked. He's almost slept on as like this beast who's just, again, I don't see Cooper Flagg being that. This guy's Banchero is different. He can shoot the three. He's struggling with the free throws, but you can't. Everyone say, a lot of people say he reminds them of Carmelo. In a lot of ways he does, but he's, I think they're all guys that shine, and I think the path from Duke to the league, Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, there's a lot of guys. These are superstars. So
yeah, that's the reason why I said I ain't going. That's stretching it. If I say number one, like that would be stretching it because you do still have some, like the three that you just mentioned, Tatum, Irvin, and Banchero. Like right now, those are your three biggest Duke players in the league. I mean, even over Zion. Like, you think about Cam Reddish, Luke Kennard. There's some other Duke players or whatever, but it's not many players that really be successful like that in the NBA coming from Duke. That's really my point.
Yeah, that's your bias showing, because I love the fact that I love Cam Reddish is a guy that's been on several teams, getting him a bunch of chances, and he that's another guy that used this vehicle. He got all the hype from everybody in the world, and he went through Duke. So even though a lot of people, RJ was drafted before him, obviously Zion got another crazy ass contract. So I think the Duke thing does help. I don't want to veer off from that because Duke is like the Instagram of one of the Instagrams of college. UNC still got a name,
right? But I will say this. Cam Reddish was the best player on that team that year.
Really?
Over RJ and Zion, to me. Like Zion got hurt. Zion was just big. Like when you think about, if you go back and watch Zion Williamson highlights from Duke, there's not many, like, he didn't take shots. He wasn't shooting a lot of threes. He wasn't even shooting a lot of two-pointers. Everything from highlights from Zion was dunks. And the fact that he was just so big. Like at that time, he was like the biggest player in college basketball. I mean, he was just solid. Like you couldn't You're not gonna bully him around, and we was all hype about it because it's like, man, this guy's a Duke player. When he get to that NBA though, I want to know what he's gonna do when he go up against LeBron, somebody who's solid just as much as he is or whatever. And look at what's going on with Zion. I mean, he kind of like he don't know if he want to be big or small. Like I think the New Orleans food is getting to him a little bit. Like I don't know. So I mean, it's
But I do think that Duke served its purpose for him and RJ Barrett, because you telling me they had 2 of the top 3 draft picks, and then you're saying Cam Reddish was better. And where did they even fall in the NCAA? I don't think they made the Final Four.
They did.
Like maybe the tournament,
but all 3 of them was top 10 picks.
That's what I'm saying. So you got 3 out of the top 10 picks. When has that happened where you don't even have, how do you say that? The semifinals of the Final Four? Like the Final Four tournament like that.
Final Four, yeah.
Yeah, the Final Four of the Final Four. You didn't make that 3 of the top 10. That's
right.
A lot of potential we're talking. And then you look at that draft. Jalen Brunson's in there. Darius Garland's in there. A lot of guys were in that draft.
Ja Morant is in there.
Right, John Morant, who I just watched highlights. Like when they were saying, remember, I'm a Knicks fan. We're both Knicks fans. When that was coming out, people were rumoring KD and Kyrie to come here. Speaking of Kyrie, I didn't want him on my team on the Knicks at the time because I felt like he was going through, growing pains and everything. And I just felt like he can't lead a team right at that moment. But the rumor was those 2, along with getting the number 1 pick for Zion after they traded Kristaps Porzingis. All right, cool. Right. But then I started watching some highlights. I'm like, somebody showed me John Morant and Murray State. I said, bro, we need a point guard. We need that style of play in New York. He looks crazy. I couldn't believe the hype that wasn't there for John Morant. And I know, and again, speaking to the Duke hype, if John Morant went to UNC, he's the number 1 pick. There would have been a battle. It would have been a whole Greg Oden versus Durant thing again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, think about it like this. Zion wanted to go to UNC before he went to Duke. Like a lot of players want to go to Carolina before they go to Duke. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Matter of fact, I sent y'all a photo and stuff of a lot of the great players and good players that wanted to potentially go to Carolina, but then they chose to go to other schools, whatever. Like, Marcus Smart.
Can we talk about why they didn't go?
That part I can't answer, simply because a lot of those players I didn't really know that they wanted to go to Carolina. Like I knew Carolina was in Kobe's list. I knew that Carolina was in Kevin Durant's list. I didn't know about like John Wall and D'Angelo Russell. I didn't know anything that Marcus Smart wanted to go there. He ended up going to Oklahoma State. Like there's a lot of DeMar DeRozan, and he's from California. So I never knew that Carolina reached out to him. Never knew these things. And I'm like, this is a crazy list. Like to have all of these players that wanted to go to Carolina and just decided to go to other places. I can't speak on why they didn't go. Well, we know with Kobe, he went straight to the league. Kevin Durant, I think he only stayed for 1 year at Texas, won a championship, or he might have stayed a little bit longer, but I know he won a
they didn't win a chip.
No. He didn't win a chip. Greg
Oden.
So I don't know why, but at the same time, it could also be because of maybe what Carolina had at the moment, or what had already committed, and bringing in that player would have crowded some things up and messed up some things. So
what about the McCants thing? I mean, I think it was Trajan Langdon that told a couple of these guys, no, it's hot over there. You don't do it. Like that was, I read that in an article where it was like, oh, Rashad McCants made it so hot that people would like, don't go to UNC because of it.
Well, the thing is with McCants, the reason why it ended up being that way is because McCants basically kind of put it out there that there was some things going on with Coach Williams, not with the Coach Williams telling the players and like boosting their grades up and things like that for all of their classes and stuff like that, so that they can stay on the roster, because it is an academic school and your academics got to be up in order for you to play. There's been a few Carolina players that had to leave the team or was no longer on the team because their academics dropped, or they may have gotten into some issues legally, some legal issues or whatever the case may be. So the McCants thing, he made it hot, but he didn't make it hot until after he won a national championship. Like, if it was going to be like that, like, you should have just never went there, period. So after he wins the chip, and then now all of a sudden he's off to the NBA and everything, now you want to bring this out that, Carolina was running this little scheme, basically, that, they was upping the players' grades and stuff so that they can stay on the rosters and, and things like that, when that really wasn't the case. It was just more so of the fact that, now when all of these players want to come to Carolina, now they decide not to come to Carolina because it was a NCAA violation and they didn't want to be a part of that. Like, Carolina could have probably won another championship around that time, but a lot of the players kind of deviated and went somewhere else that wanted to come to Carolina because of that penalty. It was penalties that the NCAA was giving Carolina, basically. So, and Carolina had to go through that. We had to chuck it up and go through it or whatever. We're glad now that it's all behind us, but yeah, McCants started all of that. I was never a big Rashad McCants fan. If he hears this, then he hears it. It doesn't bother me. I don't really care. And
he's won me over in terms of a content creator, because he went from like just saying ridiculous stuff to like he sounds normal now on Gilbert Arenas show. But I don't respect the move like that, because it was almost like unspoken that we all accepted the fact that they weren't going to go to school. They were celebrities of their school. So you publicizing that, what you just said right now, I never even thought about it like that. Like, oh, but it was good enough for you to get into the NBA, right? The goose is good for the gander. Then that's really where you lose a lot of points. And I don't care what your movement is. You will have to have been violated egregiously to come out and make that stance like that. I can't respect that as a person. Now, he was a kid, he was younger, because that happened before he came to the league, if I'm not mistaken. So, or right around the time. So in your early 20s, again, that was my thing with Kyrie Irving. Like, he's going through some growing pains. So I didn't know who the hell am I to say I forgive him. But these are kids, man. They're in their 20s. I don't know what I would have done in my 20s. I would have been worse than all of them, I believe, because I would have been talking crazy. I would have thought I knew it all, and the earth is beyond flat. That thing is like non-existent. I would have been going crazy. So I tend to forgive these guys for what the mistakes that they made in the past. And especially, now with the internet, we have a way to access a lot of these celebrities and names that we're just used to seeing on the basketball court, and then pigeonholing them as that with these rules and regulations that we really set on them. Or to the point of McCants, it was totally acceptable to go to school in a lot of our minds, for them to go to school and not go to school. And now maybe that has changed since then. I doubt it. I highly doubt it, because you bring a boatload of money to the school. To me, it's all about the bread. It's all about the money. So I can't be too upset with McCants.
I wish if I would have known that we was gonna get into McCants a little bit, I would have like brought that clip up when Raymond Felton was on Theo Penson's podcast, and he basically kind of broke down a lot of things, because McCants was a problem in the locker room, like in college at Carolina.
Quick, you can talk about it, and you could just add it in here when you edit it. So get into it. Like, well, remember, let's see what Raymond Felton said, because I watched it. So let's get into
Oh,
let's
so
get into what Raymond
yeah,
thought instead. Yeah,
yeah,
and include in the video.
So he had that issue, man. There was a locker room issue back then. McCants was a hothead. And I don't know if he was I don't want to know if well, yeah, let's use the word hothead. He was a hothead. He had an attitude, wasn't really like a team player, wanted the ball all the time. And Roy don't play like that. That's just not what Roy Williams do. So it started causing friction and confusion in the locker room where, Felton, Sean May, Jackie Manuel and Jawad Williams, all of them, like he started creating that tension in the locker room. So when he decided to leave, oh, okay, then we gonna do this. This is what we gonna end up doing or whatever. Now, and to this day, Carolina still showed him love. His jersey is still in the rafters at the Dean Smith Center. He still got his championship. Like, they didn't take that away from Carolina or anything. Like, you still got all of that, and the school still rewarded you for it. But yeah, you turn around and this is what you do to the university. Like, that's the first time a player has ever done that to North Carolina. Like, it just don't happen at these prolific schools. It don't happen like that at Duke or Kansas or Kentucky or places like that, where a player that played for the school won a chip, and now he turns around and talks about the school that he attended and won a chip at, and his coach. It just don't happen like that. So clearly, the common denominator was Rashad McCants. It wasn't the University of North Carolina. The stuff that he spoke about, it wasn't going on. I don't understand what his motive was behind it. I think it was just the ego thing. And like you said, he started doing the show with Gilbert. Then he, starts going crazy on there or whatever. But, now he's kind of doing his own thing or whatever. But I think a lot of that stuff that he was doing on Gilbert was because of the fact that he was just trying to build up his cult fan base to follow him when he goes off to do his own thing or whatever. Like, that's just business. That's just how it works or whatever. So yeah, man, Rashad McCants, I never list him. Like, he don't even really get brought up around here in Chapel Hill and on campus, and when fans are talking and stuff like that, and we're just chopping it up as far as great players from UNC or whatever. You never hear McCants' name. Never. Like, it's like he didn't even play for the university. Like, you just never hear his name. So we gotta. He leaves a bad taste in UNC fans' mouths and all of that and stuff. Like, pause. But
Well, that's the way he comes off in
yeah.
on the show. Like, the way he talks is as if even in the league, it was like, bro, if you thought you were that good now and you still haven't, like, there wasn't no. I remember Stackhouse getting more hype. Do you think you were on Vince Carter's level? Like, we were watching some UNC games just to watch Vince Carter, and I know he was a highlight reel, but I mean, that's how he talks, as if he was on that level. If Vince Carter was on that UNC team, they might have gone undefeated. Like, even Antoine Jameson and UNC, they weren't on Antoine Jameson's level. I don't think any one of them were on Antoine Jameson's level, if I'm not mistaken. From that, whoever won the finals obviously had a better team.
Yeah, no.
So
and Antoine was different, man.
I would watch just because of them. I'm like, was Antoine better? Just because I don't know, and I had an unfamiliar eye back then. But again, another guy who utilized the big platform like that to get what he wanted, and all of a sudden he wants to go back and act like he's a hero for it. It's like, to me, what redeems all that is if now you look back and be like, yo, I could have handled that differently, man. I just could have.
Right.
It's the business, and the way he talks, all he ever talks about is it's a business. So he seems very rational when he talks about a lot of topics. And look, I definitely heard about this when with Derrick Rose, with your favorite coach of all time, John Calipari. He supposedly switched his SAT scores.
You gonna do that to me like that? You gonna do it?
I always do it too. Your favorite player is LeBron, and your favorite coach is John
Yes.
Calipari.
Oh man, yeah. They're my guys,
but
man. I love them to death. Love them to death.
but we did see the SAT scandal with Derrick Rose. Remember that popped out? They supposedly changed his scores or whatever it was, but you never saw Derrick Rose come out and confirm it or John Calipari. Like, it made
Right.
no sense. They knew what it was. They know it's a business, and that platform. You know, John Calipari has his own platform. It would be
Right.
crazy for you to turn on John Calipari because he sits down with these players and he goes, "Yo, these are how much my last 10 draft picks have made in the NBA
Right.
so far. Get in line." And Duke can say that now. UNC, I think, from the little bit I'm getting from UNC, from you, and just in general, something building over there, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know I'm unbiased. Something building over there, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, when I tell you this is I'm gonna see if you can see this. I'm gonna see if I can show you this right quick, just in the camera. That's all your great UNC players' jerseys up there in the rafters. McCants is up there, Jordan, Phil Ford, Charlie Scott, Hansborough. And the crazy thing is, in the front, they got like your best players to where you can't never wear that number no more. I just give you this list right quick. This list is
Oh, that's
crazy.
fire. That's dope. They didn't make the Hall
Uh,
of Fame like that. This is ultra level, and then everybody else. You can never touch these, the untouchable golden level. Yeah, I like that.
Like, yeah, you can't never wear 23 no more. Nobody can ever wear 33. You got Phil Ford, which wore number 12. You got James Worthy, wore number 52. Michael Jordan, 23. Antoine Jameson, 33. Hansborough at 50. Nobody can ever wear those numbers at Carolina again. Ever. Like, that's just what it is. But like, yeah, McCants is up there. He's up there. He just grinds my teeth, man, when I hear that name, bro. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So
Well, we got a clip.
don't
Hopefully,
know.
go viral off this, man. I hate Rashad McCants.
Yeah.
Put a boom. Clip that up. Put that in your listen, man. I'm telling you, because you remember you were UNC guy. A lot of UNC guys don't, and they're not feeling him like that. And he's never made that right. All I'm saying, listen, Rashad, if you see this, all I'm saying is make it right, bro. You sit down with UNC, walk around, shake some hand, kiss some babies, bro. You a
That's
businessman.
all, man. That's it. Like, he's never been back to campus. He's never been that I know of. He's never been back to visit. Like,
He better
like,
go back there with Jameson and them boy with some security. Don't just pop up on the campus either, from what it sounds like. Might get some eggs thrown at him.
The problem is he's ruined relationships with players that don't even want to rock with him. Look at Felton, Sean May. I mean, his teammates for sure. But think about what he's what he's done as far as rubbing the other players away, like Jameson and Carter and all of them, Ed Cota, like just rubbing them the
These are
wrong
the guys.
way.
These are the guys that can help you. But they're not just his teammates. They're your teammates for life in a situation like this, where if you have an issue, this is your fraternity. This is different than a regular fraternity, whatever they be throwing up, no disrespect to y'all fraternities, but that was 12 or 15 of you guys in college. Then you have the alumni or whatever it is from college basketball all time. Sit down, one of them be like, "Oh, listen, you could do it like this." Michael Jordan went to UNC. You telling me you don't want to get next to Michael Jordan? Like, it's just like you said, you got to make that right. That's all. It ain't even that serious, because it should, it shouldn't have been, but now it is. If you can't go back to UNC, that's silly, bro. Imagine you being on the Gilbert Arena show. You have this mega platform, and you should be able to reel kids into UNC or whatever college you want. I would go full villain mode and be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna send everybody to Duke, and then really go crazy, right? But you don't even have the opportunity because you don't have no trust. How are you gonna be able to, bro? How can we trust you? Let's keep it real. You agreed to come here. You agreed to be on the team, win that championship and everything. And then when it was all good for you, you won them, got them a couple millions in the league. Then all of a sudden it was a problem. That's really the issue that we're speaking to, bro. Build some confidence up with the people you're supposed to be confidants with. That's just real talk.
And my thing is, you know what? If you don't want to make it right, then give us the chip back. Give us the ring back. We'll take your jersey down out of the rafters. If you don't want to make it right, I mean, you want people to bow down to you, and that's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen, man. There's too many greats or whatever to really be just thinking about Rashad McCants. There's too many greats that have came out of Carolina to be thinking about him. We don't mention Rashad McCants, like, period, at all. His name just don't even circulate throughout the Carolina family. Nobody talks about him. Nobody. So, Rashad, if you do hear this, make it right, man. Just make it right. If not, then give us everything back. We'll take your name down. It is what it is. There's no hard feeling. Just make it right. You need to go and apologize to Coach Williams. Like, you really do. Like, and the university. Period. But I digress, man. God, oh man.
Listen, I'm on a roll. I mentioned all three names that peeve off Lenzel. Don't tell me your weakness.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, I should have never did that. I should have never did that, man. Calipari, oh my God. I don't know. Oh, you just brought him up for no reason. Then LeBron. No, nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about. And then McCants.
I heard he wanted to go to UNC.
I heard that too, though. I did. I don't know how accurate that is, but I heard that too. All of them wanted to go to Carolina, man. Come on. I mean, it's Carolina. I don't understand how I can see why people hate Carolina for sure. We always winning. I get it. We got all of the greats. I get it. But at the same time, we're the school that you love to hate. It's just what it is. All your favorite players, they wanted to go there. Like, let's just cut it out. Let's cut it out, man. And if they don't go there, then they go to Duke. Like, Duke is always gonna be secondary, man. That's just what it is to me. Period. So,
very
it's a whole nother story. Oh my God.
Very
so let me. I'm gonna ask you this. What are your because I know that me and Flea have kind of gotten you into this whole college thing, as far as watching it this year, kind of forcing you to watch it this year. So what are some things that you may be looking for or forward to when it comes to the college basketball season? Like, anything that you've been hearing that you can't wait to see, any matchups that you might have heard about, or what coaches, what schools, or just anything in general. What are you most excited about to see this year in college basketball, since you're gonna be watching it? Because we're gonna make you watch it this year, buddy.
I think the mainstream stuff,
since you want to bring up Calipari now.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing. All the mainstream stuff I definitely got to watch and keep up with. The Calipari over there in Arkansas now, Cooper Flagg and Duke, of course. But you guys lost Armando, right? And he went to the Spurs.
Nah, Harrison Ingram went to the Spurs. Mondo went to the Jazz. Went to Utah.
Okay. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna pay attention to UNC because of yourself. And then Duke, Cooper Flagg over there. There's a 7'9" kid apparently over there in Florida State.
Oh, he's at Florida.
Florida.
Bro, we got to do something about this. The NCAA got to do something about that. Players 7'2" and above or whatever should never play basketball like that. Because how do you stop it? This was bro, we just dealt with 4 years of Zach Edey. Dealing with that. Zach Edey was granted so many things. He never got fouls called on him because he was just so big. He would just walk all over you or whatever the case may be. All he got to do is just stand there with his arms out or with his arms up, and he's blocking shots or whatever without having the body bump you or whatever to draw fouls. So he never got fouls called on him. And he was always granted fouls because of the fact everybody had to foul him because he was so big in the paint. So, like, he was 7'2". Now you telling me you got a 7'9", and the bad part is we got to play him this year in Charlotte. Come on, man, 7'9". That's too tall. The NCAA got to do something and regulate that. Like, you can't be over a certain height to play basketball because now it's just getting outrageous, and that's unfair. That's just unfair, man. Because how do you guard that? How do you guard 7'9"? You ain't even got 7'9" players. You ain't even got 7'9" players in the NBA. And you talk about they cool for college? Nah.
I think UConn back-to-back champions as well. I think want to see how Dan Hurley, coaches them up. I don't think they're really touted to be a top 5 team this year, right? Not yet.
Nah. Well, no, they actually got them in the top 5, which is crazy because I don't think UConn is doing anything like what they did the past 2 years this year. They got some good players, but I don't think they're doing anything this year, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be right in that, between that 8 to 15 ranking throughout the season, if that. I don't think they're that good this year. I don't, but we'll see. The height, once again, is height. Dan Hurley.
Right.
So
found a way to promote himself, almost going to the NBA himself, like a player. He was flirting with the NBA. I think the mainstream stuff, and as far as I'm interested in certain coaches, like certain players that come out of UCLA. I forgot the coach's name over there. It's like,
that's
how did that
Nick
happen?
Cronin.
Nick Cronin, but he's been around for a minute, and I've seen a lot of UCLA. I forgot the last UCLA got at. I was like, where he went to UCLA? Mm-hmm. Who's the last UCLA player, big time, that's in the league now?
That's in the league.
Yeah,
maybe what's his name? What's Juan Jaquez?
Oh, right, Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah,
right.
Jaime.
Thank you. Yes, Jaime, because Don was telling me, he's really good. He went to 4 years over there, and I'm like, well, that's great development. And then you see him play, and it's like, oh, nah, this kid is good. I forgot all about him, and I got to worry about the Miami Heat because they got shout out to I think it was Knicks 100 sent me a DM. The Heat got this kid Johnson on a 2-way contract. He looks really good on tape. I mean, it's only summer league, but Jaime Jaquez getting drafted by the Miami Heat. He fell to them. And this is two drafts ago now with Amen Thompson, the Thompson twins in there. A lot of names being thrown around. Scoot Henderson was the one who stole the limelight. So Jaime dropping lets me believe, wait a minute, what's going on over there in UCLA? Westbrook went over there, Kevin Love went over there. I think in between time they had some players I'm just not thinking about now, but they jumped on my radar as well. Just those big teams like that. Trying to think what other team. Syracuse as well, because Syracuse just formed a deal with they sent the Knicks sent their coach and sent someone in the front office to be a talent scout over there in Syracuse with a guy Red Autry, New York City basketball legend. So being able to watch them, similar to Calipari with the Kentucky boys, IQ and these guys going to the league. Now we see why CAA became CAA clients and stuff like that. So Syracuse, I got to watch out for them a little bit as well, because I want to see if there's anything they're developing. And I'm pretty sure, those messages are going to be direct messages between Syracuse, that staff, with the front office of the Knicks. Totally interested in them as well. But those are the standouts for me right now from all the headlines I've seen in the summer so far for college basketball.
Yeah, Syracuse. That's one of those hit or misses because they're still in that rebuilding stage. They just lost like a lot of players. Judah Mintz. They just lost Malik Brown, who went to Duke. I think Judah Mintz went to the league. So I mean, and that was like their. Well, you had JJ Starling, but I think he's back. But they didn't really have a lot like that. Quadir Copeland, who transferred, he was like their best defensive player. Like it's a hit or miss with them. I really don't remember everybody that they may have gotten in the portal or picked up as far as freshmen. So it's going to be another like rebuilding year. Last year was a big year for them because they was playing very well. Autry he's going to be good at Syracuse. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Same thing with like Damon Stoudemire at Georgia Tech. So he lost a lot, but it's going to take a little bit of time as well because I know Damon can bring some players in, just like Red Autry can. You know what I'm saying? So UCLA is going to be we play them this year. As a matter of fact, I don't know how far you are from the Garden, but that game is in the Garden this year. So make sure you go by and check it out, man. Carolina and UCLA this year at the CBS Sports Classic. I'll send you the date. I'll make sure you get the
Please.
dates for it or whatever. Yeah, because
All right.
actually,
That sounds
yeah,
dope.
it's Carolina and UCLA and Kentucky and Ohio State for the CBS Sports, and then Duke is also coming up there in February. I think. I think they just released their schedule, but I think they're playing Illinois. It's either Illinois or I think it's Illinois, but they're playing Illinois in Madison Square Garden too. So I'll make sure you get those dates, man, so you can go by and check that out at the Garden. You know what I'm saying? The greatest arena in the world, the world's most famous arena. Let me get it right. So, but it's gonna be a good college year, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. You picked the right time to jump in and start watching college basketball. You know what I'm saying? So it's really gonna be interesting. Carolina is Carolina just picked up Tyjon Claude, big piece that we needed. 6'8", 230. I mean, the boy is solid, man. Led the ACC in offensive rebounds, which is what we need. He gives me that Dennis Rodman mindset a little bit. Like he knows if you're the offensive leading rebound and you're the eighth player on the team, you're not even starting, but you're the leading offensive rebounder in the conference. That says a lot. That says a lot.
You
Like
said you just picked him up. So what school was he in?
he went to Georgia Tech, but well before then he started his career because this is his last year. He's a fifth-year senior. The NCAA just granted him a waiver to play one more year in college. So he started out at Morehead State, and then he went to Western Carolina. Then he transferred to Georgia Tech last year, and now he's transferring out of Georgia Tech, and he's going to Carolina. He'll be at Carolina this year. So
So this is his senior season.
yeah. This is fifth and only his last year. Because this is the last year for the COVID year. So
COVID exemption.
So after that, it goes back to you only get 4 years in college or whatever. So but
You excited about that?
I'm excited about it. That's a good pickup. We needed it because we were small in the front court. Like we didn't have no backup center. We missed out on quite a few of them this year. Now, a lot of people talked about all of the ones that we really missed out on, but a lot of people don't know we didn't miss out on players. It was the fact that number one, we probably just talked to them, but we wasn't really interested in them. I think if anything, we might have missed out on like 3, maybe. But when they start talking about all of these other ones, it builds that list up. And then now you want to get these podcasters that want to get out here and criticize, like, oh, Carolina ain't got no money. They can't bring in no players and blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. That's not the case. I mean, what are we talking about? It's Carolina. You don't think we got any money? Like, I don't understand the brains from some people sometimes, man. Like, what in the right mind would make a person think that UNC don't have no money for NIL? That's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous to me. Probably one of the most richest schools in America. The first public school in America for sure. Like it was the very first public school in America. What we talk about? Michael Jordan went there. He just donated, or not donated, but well, you know what? I don't know if he did it or not. because I can't fully remember, but you're gonna take money and put it into UNC, like for NIL, for sports and stuff. He's got the Jordan brand. Like we wear the Jordan brand around there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that people think that is just nonsense and just crazy to me. I just don't I don't get it. But yeah, I like the piece. I think we got some I think what we needed. We good now.
2
Because
5-star
now,
recruits now.
yeah, the recruitment. You know what? It's funny you say that, right? Because when we was going back talk about Cooper, the hype, right? I'm gonna tell you what I got an issue with. Here's what I got an issue with, and we gonna have to like really probably delve into this. We ain't gonna dig too deep into it today, but there's a player named Malachi Moreno. He just committed to Kentucky today at this morning. Malachi had 8 schools, I think 8 to 10 schools on his list that he had already set dates for to take official visits to, right? Carolina, Indiana, Arkansas, Kentucky, and a few other schools or whatever. But then he just went to Kentucky last week for his visit and decided to make an announcement nationally. Like, so many people was watching. I watched it today. It was on YouTube live. He nationally made his decision and said that he was going to Kentucky. The problem is everybody already knew he was going to Kentucky because that was your last visit last week. You had a visit set up for Carolina in September. You were supposed to be going to Indiana with a couple of your teammates and things like that to visit and all of that at the same time. You didn't do that. So we already knew when the announcement came that he was going to announce his announcement today on Friday. Everybody already knew that it was Friday. That's not my problem. My problem is the hype that they put around it. Like, why does it need to be advertised? Why do you have to do a live or whatever to tell everybody where you're going to school? You could have just let it be known and put it out there like, hey, I'm committing to Kentucky. Instead of all of this hoopla, because see, now that builds that hype that we was talking about earlier. It's going to build that hype. That's all that you're going to hear people talking about and things like that. Now, if that's what the guy wants to do, I have nothing against that. Go get your money, do whatever you do, go to the NBA, do all of that, bro. But at the same time, at some point you got to be realistic. You can't, there's no need to do that. I in my eyes, there's no need to set up a live for you to make your announcement and almost 500,000 people is watching when everybody already know where you're going. You just canceled all of your other visits that you had. You just canceled them. Like, you just said, you know what? I ain't even going to them other schools to visit them. I already know where I'm going. And he went to Kentucky, but he just visited Kentucky last week. There's no need for that. That's going to build up that hype. That's what puts pressure on players. And sometimes that pressure busts pipes, and it might not work out.
But again, I think with the Cooper Flagg thing is another reason for the hype is because you have to guarantee the return. So him doing that, he's not. What's his name again?
Malachi Moreno.
Yeah, he ain't on like Cooper Flagg. Got to be the hottest name out there in college. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take much for him. I don't know even though he had a press conference. I think he did, but it doesn't sound like it's as extravagant as what this guy Moreno did. But you need that now because now it's become professional. College can no longer consider themselves amateur anymore, which is part of the whole NIL thing. You're dealing with pros, and this is a fine line that they're toting right now because there's so much money involved. They have to give into the NIL, and with the world being at the way it is, the NBL over there in Australia is crazy. The they got rid of the G. Was it the G League or the G League Ignite within the NBA? They got rid of it.
Yeah.
After Scoot Henderson left. That kid has to do everything he can to guarantee a return. And a part of that return for all those businesses over there in Kentucky is going to be hyping up the intro. Once you got the intro, then you get the follows and you get, so it's all part of the social media wave. And, you know, for his sake, hopefully he continues a residual return for them and for himself. But I said all that to say, where is this thing going? Because that was my point with Cooper Flagg. What is are we going to now see reality TV versions of these college guys who have had enough of normalcy in terms of marketing? Will there be a one-upmanship? Will there be Love and Hip Hop style NCAA? When these guys are going to go out their girlfriends and make it like we're right there from it. Lonzo Ball and the Ball family, and you know LeBron having his kids. Basically, LeBron is kind of pioneering that. You've been watching McCants since 13 years old. Look, he made it to the league. That's a reality TV show. The Lakers are helping with that. So this kid Moreno doing that. I see this going getting more and more disgusting before it gets better, and you're gonna just be, you know, even more disgusted with it. Even though I do think an ounce of this has something to do with being a little bit hurt that he didn't choose UNC. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it came from that, Lenzel. I don't know.
Actually, no, it's really not, honestly, because I had already knew he wasn't going to UNC. I knew it already. He already. It was to me, and this has been the talk over a month ago, that his the top two big targets was Kentucky and Indiana. So when all of these other when you know you get these big guys posting on Twitter and stuff like that, like, oh, Malachi is setting official visits for his final 8 schools, and they got the dates, and you know, oh, he's gonna be at Indiana September 4th, he's gonna be at UNC September 14th, he's gonna be at Oregon, and you setting all of that up. And then all of a sudden, Indiana and Kentucky was always the leaders. Always the leader. So why even go through and put these other schools thinking that you're coming when you're really, your mind is already made up? And I get it. He's a Kentucky kid. He stayed home. I get it. I'm not mad that he went to Kentucky. It's the hype around everything. Like, you didn't need to do all of this hype when everybody already knew you was going to either Kentucky or Indiana. We already knew this weeks ago. So just make the announcement like everybody else do. When Tyjon Claude committed to Carolina, it came out of nowhere. He didn't have a press conference and he didn't do none of that. It just came out of nowhere. And then, you know, blogs started you know, posting and tweeting, oh, he's committed to Carolina and this and that and the third. And that's how the buzz got out, basically. But we didn't know what other schools he was looking at, who was also interested in him. We didn't know any of that. Out of the blue, it just said Tyjon Claude has committed to North Carolina. And then the Twitter and Instagram went into a frenzy, especially when you're in this content creator space or whatever, and you trying to put your post out and, you know, repost it, all of that. Like, it went into a frenzy because this is what we as Carolina fans, we've been looking for something like this. So we didn't know anything. So to make this, and this kid is high school, man. He's high school. So we gotta he committed to be playing next year, not this year coming up. This is 2025. So like you did all of this hoopla for that when we knew. Nah, I just don't. And a lot of players and stuff are gonna do that. My thing is, I don't really see the point in doing it. I'm not mad if they do it, but at the same time, don't. What is that saying that people say? Like, don't piss on everybody and tell us it's raining. Like, don't come on, man. When we already know, like, it just didn't make sense. There's no need to have this live press conference a week later, a week after you done visited Kentucky to say, oh, I'm gonna make my announcement live on YouTube, and so many people is building it up and the hoopla and all of that around it. And here it is. A few weeks ago, we was reading. You had a list to go to visit all of these other schools. That just don't make sense to me. That don't make sense to me. And it's gonna be more. I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at it, but if it's gonna be like that, just make the announcement. Don't make yourself bigger than what you are. That's my thing. You're a good player. You're number 20, 21 in the class of 2025. I can see if you was the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the case may be. I can see if you was in the top 5 or something, but you're the number 21, number 18 or something like that. Like, really? Like, this is what we doing now? So now down the road is going to be, oh, he's the number 35 pick or whatever in high school, player coming out of high school and everything. And, oh, he's going to do a live and tell us where he's committing to. Man, I just, it's too much. It's becoming too much, man. College, they're ruining college basketball. They really are. I like the NIL. I don't mind the players getting paid. I think it needs to be regulated because some of these players is just making outrageous numbers. And it's just going to get carried away because now, like I told Flea, these players are not going to the school because of the school. It's now a bidding war. Who's got the most money for NIL? That's where I'm going. When 9 times out of 10, they might not even be going to that school because now with the transfer portal, they can go there for a year. They get their NIL deal. They get it, all of that or whatever, right? You go there for a year. You make $2 million or whatever. The school offered you $2 million. You play there for a year. Now, all of a sudden, after that season, you want to transfer. To see now who's going to bid and throw out a whole nother offer for you to make more money. Like, it's becoming, it's got to be regulated, bro. It's got to be regulated because it's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, but I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. But listen, man, Fabe, I appreciate you coming on today, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always an honor. You know, I appreciate y'all, you know, having me on the show, being a part of the AllBall TV family. Like, it's an honor. I'm truly grateful. I appreciate it. You know, I support y'all, man. I rock with y'all, whatever y'all do. And it is what it is. And this is not the only show that I'm have you on because you already know when that season comes around, I got to get you back on because I want to know how you felt about things. Did you watch this game? Did you do that? What do you think about this? So you can get a little bit more well informed. So, you know, and of course, you know, we talk behind the scenes. So,
And you know I'm going to watch, be unbiased. I'll rip up anybody in UNC, whoever it is. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. That's what we do.
Yeah, but you know, being a college basketball like advocate, you're gonna have to at least pick a team to rock with. Even if you're not a fan of them, you're gonna have to pick a team to rock with. It ain't got to be UNC. Like, I know Flea is a St. John's fan.
I went to a St. John's game last year with Patino there, and I was like disgusted. He looks like a corpse, but I liked him in the press conference calling everybody out. That was amazing. That was great. I got to teach these guys fundamentals from A to Z. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And he said what Popovich said, which is crazy. But you know, I would go with St. John's if anything, but they're like nowhere near. It's not competitive. It's disgusting to watch actually. And then, like I said, Syracuse was in New York, but I'm gonna go with St. John's. I'm from Queens, man. So I think I'm gonna go with that.
Okay, so you're gonna be an ACC. You're gonna be in the ACC. This year. I'm not gonna say be a fan of a team because you got to get a little bit more into it or whatever. But you're gonna be in the ACC, so that means that you'll probably see a lot of Syracuse. Y'all get a lot of Syracuse coverage from up that way.
I don't even. Well, I just got into this. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't even know why I even asked that or whatever. But
But they were
yeah,
big.
well,
Syracuse was big. The Big East was huge over here when it was Georgetown, all those games. Just the Big East was such a big deal in New York City in the early 90s. The 90s, it was just crazy. It was part of
hey,
the
listen,
talk. So I received
Syracuse,
like residual talk from it.
yeah, yeah. Syracuse got one of the best games ever in history, man, in college basketball against Georgetown. That 6 overtime game that happened in the Garden.
Oh,
That's
that's how
probably
Flynn got his money from Minnesota. That's how they got drafted over Steph Curry. That was horrible. But I
yeah,
knew from then that he wasn't on Steph Curry's level, and Minnesota had 2 chances to pick somebody over Steph. That was horrible behavior by them.
because Kimba went that year too. I think
No, no,
Kimba
no,
got drafted that year
nah,
too.
no way. Kemba was after that. No way. Kemba was that year was who did we draft that
You
because Flynn
sure?
went 1000%. No way Kemba went in the same draft as Steph Curry. No way. Steph Curry went 2009.
Hold on.
UConn didn't
Let me
win that
just
year.
see why we on here. Well,
Yeah,
now I'm talking about the Syracuse year when they played. They had that six overtime game.
yeah,
It
that
was Syracuse
Syracuse
and
game, that
Georgetown.
was yes, and Syracuse 6 overtimes, and Flynn was the point guard. I don't know his last name, dark skinned kid, and that's how he got drafted over, if I'm not mistaken, over Steph Curry, or one of those point guards that Timberwolves drafted was over Steph Curry. That was horrible behavior, horrendous behavior by the Timberwolves.
Okay, Kimba went 2011.
2011, yeah, no way.
Yeah,
Steph went 2011. Steph was 08, 09. Same draft. I want to say what draft pick did Steph Curry drafted in? Oh, you know
no,
who
he
went
was
Steph
on that
Curry's draft?
team.
What team?
He was on that Georgetown team though. He might not have been a senior or got drafted, but I think he was on that Georgetown team that year.
What team you talking about?
I'm talking about Kimba when I think Kimba was like a
Nah,
sophomore or something like that.
Kemba went to UConn. Kemba had the game winner. He was cardiac. Kemba had the game winner at
Yeah,
the
yeah, you're
elbow at
right.
the in the Garden. The only reason why I know, right,
Yeah.
is because Kemba. I lived in the Bronx at the time, and Kemba was so hyped. We were rooting for him, and I watched that game in the barbershop. Shout out to my guy B on 138 in Cypress Avenue. This is why I watched it. He was going bananas. Kyrie's pops
Queens is
was
coming
from
out,
2
y'all.
blocks.
The Queens is coming out.
I'm from Queens, but I stayed in the Bronx at the time. Kyrie's pops was from 2 blocks away from Mitchell's projects. His family would come in from time to time. They were rooting for Kemba and Kyrie in that barbershop all day. So I knew Kemba went to UConn, and I knew he hit that game winner in the Garden because we were watching it. And then Kyrie, I couldn't watch him play. I'm like, he ain't even playing games for Duke. So I had to ask everybody, was he nice? They were like, nah, he's nice. He's nice. But Kemba had more hype because of that, because of the UConn run. Did they go back to back NCAA? I know he won the NCAA championship.
You know what I got? I don't know if they went back to back. They might have, but what I got mixed up is it was Syracuse and UConn, not Syracuse and Georgetown. That's where I got myself twisted and mixed up at. But yeah, because it was Syracuse and UConn that played that 6 overtime game in Madison Square Garden that night. That game didn't end till like almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I
Oh, it was
remember
UConn
that
they
game.
played?
Yeah. That's the reason why I said that. Like I think Kimba was on that team. Like, let me see. Hold on. I got
It couldn't have been because that's 2009.
what year?
I know Kemba was he went all 4 years to UConn.
I think so. Syracuse. 127 to 117 against UConn, March 12, 2009.
He was there 08, 09. Yeah, he was a freshman.
Right. I knew he was on the team. I knew, yeah. Let me see. I don't think they got stats on. They don't, do they? I think he was on that team though. But I like I said, I don't. He went Johnny Flynn, AJ Price. Syracuse had Yeah, Flynn. Yep, Kimball was on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, with AJ Price. To beat. Remember to beat?
Yeah, he was another bust.
Yeah, he was. He
He
was
was
another
horrible. I think he
Greg
got
Oden.
drafted to was it Memphis? I think he
Was
got
it
drafted by
Memphis or Indiana?
nah, it wasn't Indiana. It was definitely like Memphis, something like that. Sheem to
Okay.
beat was drafted by the Grizzlies, I want to say.
Yeah,
That
another
was like
bust.
that was the beginning of the end for the big man in the league. You know, you had the guy in Indiana was there. How was his name? I used to hate his game when they made it to the conference final. They beat us too when Carmelo was here. Paul George was starting to skyrocket.
Wasn't Jermaine
Uh,
O'Neal?
no, not by then. I forgot his name, but you had guys who had this, you know,
Yeah,
Hassan Whiteside. They would get away with being the big man, but the beat just didn't have. He wasn't grooving like that anymore. I mean, once you
yeah,
saw the Celtics get rid of Jefferson and they traded him for Kevin Garnett, you know, that was kind of the beginning of the end also because Jefferson used to kill, but the beat wasn't that fluid. The beat
right.
wasn't that fluid. You know, he was made for college ball, like you said. This season, that's what the whole thing with Edie is. You could tell he's
Yeah,
just like, you know, a lot of people feel he's going to be too big. My theory also is I'm glad I'm getting into college basketball now before we end because the next 4 or 5 years will
hmm
tell me if my theory is correct that the league is going to start to change because of Wemby, because of Zach Edey, because of Giannis and these big guys. The Joker, Embiid is still there. The rules are going to start to change, I believe. They're going to want the big man back because you're going to have to challenge Wemby, or they're going to make it like how much easier can you
yeah,
make it for Wemby? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I think
yeah.
that players are going to start, or teams are going to start drafting players to guard the Wembys of the world, and Zach Edey's already there. So I believe they're going to start to funnel in that talent to college basketball, and that's that's basically like the
Mhm.
real true minor league of the NBA now, especially with them getting paid. So I
I
can't
think
wait to see if
Edie.
they start drafting more guys.
Yeah, I think Edie's gonna be a bust in the NBA. I'm gonna
I'm
be
not
honest with you.
sure.
The five that you're talking about as far as big men, I don't think you're gonna see the like Olajuwons and Ewings type fives. You're gonna see more of the Giannis and Wemby type fives, ones that can stretch the floor, that can step out, pop, shoot the three. They're going to be a little bit more versatile because right now, if you're looking at college basketball, right now for this upcoming season, and you're looking into like the 2025 and 2026 high school players, there are no big men, none. The biggest man, there's two. The two biggest men in college basketball this year is your boy from Florida that's 7'9", and Umar Ballo from that's at Indiana this year. Like just a solid big body. Like he's got the Ewing Olajuwon type frame. He's just solid, bro. So it's I think they're still getting away from that, but you're gonna see those more step out, shoot three type centers like Giannis and
Yeah,
Wemby and
I
all of
think
that.
it's just I guess my theory or my hope to bring back the game to what it was, make it more competitive
Mhm.
because you have every reason to believe what you're saying. It's just how much money is floated out there now with when you have an
Mhm.
international, you know, recruitment ground now. It wasn't like back in the day. It was primarily the U.S. And you have your, Akeem
Right.
Olajuwons out there, but now it's more like it's a lot of guys. We see how much more competitive the Olympics are now. So,
Yeah.
I think you have every right. You have every reasonable right to say what you're saying. I just think that if Wemby becomes that dominant, which he's to me, he's the only player in the league that has a chance to be in the top, up there with LeBron and Michael Jordan right now. That's just what it is to me because
Right.
he's just too. He's a freak of nature. So and he's
Yeah.
competitive. So
Yeah.
if he becomes that dominant, will the league allow the dominance to take place, or will it become boring like Shaq did and they want to change the rules up all over again? And
Mhm.
because they're not going to promote it for Zach Edey. He ain't
Right.
bringing in that much money. He ain't gonna bring more money than Wemby. So it has to be the fact that Wemby doesn't produce the advertising that they're looking forward to. And if that's the case, you will see rule changes.
Yeah. I do believe that. I do believe that. It's gonna be interesting, man. Things are really gonna change up and switch up. So we just have to wait and see what happens or whatever. But look, man,
Yeah.
tell everybody where they can find you at, and everything or whatever. Like, go ahead and plug that on in there.
Well, I plug AllBall TV, so it's at AllBall TV everywhere, Instagram, Twitter. I'm Fabian PerspecTV on there. You can hit me up as well. But AllBall TV, that's the main channel. AllBall TV is the movement. They scared, but I'm not. That's the motto. So find us on YouTube, AllBall TV. We got a show called Niz Rehab. That should be once a week. Starting next week. We might go tomorrow. We'll never know. Got to see what was going on in the group chat real quick. But again, I'm Fabian PerspecTV, and I'm representing AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. That's the way, baby.
I appreciate you, my guy. Make sure y'all do that. Make sure y'all like, subscribe to that channel. Even if you're not a Knicks fan, they still talk about basketball just as in general. So NBA, you like the NBA talk, like all of that, man. So make sure y'all go and definitely check them out and follow them and support them guys over there. Really good guys, man. I appreciate them for sure. Babe,
And I
I
appreciate you
appreciate
having
you,
me
my
on,
brother.
man. No, I appreciate you
Absolutely,
having me
bro.
on. It's a good look, man. I can't feel myself like that. These people, they want me on the show and as a guest. What the hell have I been talking about?
Hey, listen, man. I decided I wanted to give you a little break, man, because during the show over there, you always the one behind the scenes working everything. So, I figured I'd give you a little break tonight, man, and come on over, just kind of come on in the crib, take your shoes off, get a little comfortable, get you something to drink, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hey, man, we can't reveal the Wizard of Oz. He shall remain anonymous, he or she. But I appreciate you seriously letting me on the show, man. Much love.
absolutely, bro. I appreciate you, man, for sure. So that's gonna wrap it up on today's show, y'all. Like I said, that's my guy, Fade, man, at AllBall TV. Make sure y'all definitely go and check them out, like for sure. Make sure that y'all tune in to the show because this is guest week. All week we're gonna have some guests on the show. So Fade was the Tuesday edition. So we got 3 more days. So you never know who might pop up. So just make sure that y'all hit the like, comment, subscribe, share button, share it to all your friends, family. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything. Because, like I said, you never know who's gonna pop up on the show. So that's gonna wrap it up. Definitely appreciate everybody for watching. And until the next time, peace.